So the Memento backpack was introduced into the game in Season 3, which takes us back to September of 2020, and since its introduction, it is by far one of the most sought-after exotics in the game for those people who missed Season 3 or they missed the Seasonal 3 replay. So in today's video, I wanted to take a few minutes and show you some of the many ways you can still pick this bag up. What's up, my YouTube family? Welcome back to the Gaming Brigade. And the last video I posted that was dedicated to farming the Memento backpack goes back to October of 2021. And in the comment section of that video, I've been getting a lot of messages recently asking if there are any updated ways to get the bag itself. So today I wanted to break down some of the most effective ways you can try to get this thing. And to be clear as we move on, this is a video truly designed for new and returning players, as every method in this video I've highlighted before. However, a lot of you have reached out asking me to put together a standalone video on how to get the Memento, so that's exactly what I'm doing today. Now, the good news is that there happen to be a few more farming methods in the game now that were not in the game when I originally posted that previous video. However, the first thing I want to show you today is by far one of the most effective ways I've been able to get exotics in the game, and that is the floor 10 farming method. I mean, I just showed this thing last week. On legendary difficulty, getting the bighorn, it is extremely effective. Now, the first thing I want to cover is how it actually works, and for those of you that may not know, the first thing you want to do is get yourself to floor 10 of the summit. Now keep in mind this does work on any 10th floor, so you could do this on floor 10, 20, 30, 40, whichever one you want. But for me, I just happen to be a fan of floor 10, so that's the one I hit up. Now the entire point of this farm is to go after the named boss. So once you get to the floor, you're going to start clearing NPCs. After the first wave is cleared, you will then see the named boss show up. What you want to do when that happens is go directly to them, take them out, pick up the loot, open up your menu, and fast travel back to the lobby. Now the most important aspect, and this is something I referenced in last week's bighorn farming video as well, is that you cannot clear the floor entirely. If you do, you will not be able to refarm it over and over. So doing it this way allows you to truly have an unlimited boss farm, which obviously increases your chances of hopefully getting the Memento. Now, two things I want to cover that I forgot to cover in the previous video is the manner in which you get to floor 10, and you can do that on any difficulty. So let's say if you start at the very bottom of the summit, you can set your difficulty to normal, get yourself to floor 10, and once you're there, you can fast travel back to the lobby and set your difficulty accordingly. Now when it comes to difficulty, obviously the higher the difficulty does increase the chance of getting something to drop. And while this initial run was done on heroic difficulty, and by the way, this was shot yesterday, I want to make sure I always give you recent footage when I'm showing you these methods. But you'll see in this run, which happens to be from footage from that other Memento video I put out a while back, I'm on floor 90 of the summit challenging difficulty. I do get it to drop, so even if you cannot do this on heroic, you still do have a chance to pick it up. Now, as I previously mentioned, thankfully there are other ways to farm for exotics in the game now, and one of which is countdown. Now obviously before you start, you want to set your targeted loot to backpack, and you have different difficulties you can choose from. Now I strongly recommend either doing challenging or heroic, because that will increase your chances on getting the best possible loot. Now for me in my gameplay, it's really been hit or miss when I'm farming countdown. Sometimes I do see exotics, most of the time I don't, but I've heard from a lot of you out there, and you've said that this is where you have gotten most of your exotic items. You set your targeted loot to whatever you're looking for, so once again this is another option to hopefully get something that's eluded you for a while. One of the other great things about Countdown is that when you complete a run, you're going to get Countdown resources, and with those resources, you can buy caches that are on sale all the time. So right now I'm at the Countdown vendor at the White House, and you'll see that an exotic cache is 224 countdown resources. You should be able to pick that up after 2 rounds of countdown on challenging. And the only issue with this is that when you get an exotic cache, it's in the loot pool with every other exotic. So it's a complete and total roll of the dice, but hopefully you'll get lucky and see the Memento drop. Now another thing that's in the game right now, and I've said in previous videos, I'm not sure how much longer this is going to be available, but we have the General Anderson mission. Once you've completed Season 10 and you've done the initial run of that mission, you can replay it over and over on any difficulty whatsoever. And at the end of the mission, you do get a random exotic. Now, it's important to mention that even though you set your targeted loot to backpack, that is only going to affect the loot that you get when you're actually running the mission itself. It has no impact on the exotic that drops at the end. So always keep that in mine. You can see here, even though I had my targeted loot set to backpack, I wound up getting Ridgway's Pride, which is great, but again, targeted loot has no effect on the random exotic you get at the end of the Anderson mission. Next, we're going to talk about the weekly projects, which reset every Tuesday, and it gives you 3 opportunities to get an exotic cache in the game. You have the weekly summit project, you have the weekly shade requisition, and you have the weekly legendary mission as well. But as I said before, while you will get an exotic cache for it, you have no idea what's actually going to be in there, but again, it's another opportunity. And as I start to wrap this video up, I'd like to talk about farming missions as well as farming for loot in the open world, and we're going to start with missions. Now for me, there's only one mission I really enjoy farming over and over again that happens to be Lincoln Memorial, and that's for 2 reasons. First of all, I can speed run the thing pretty quick, and secondly, anytime you run Lincoln Memorial, you're going to face 4 named bosses before you clear the thing, so it is a great mission to run if you want to take that route to try to get something. But in my opinion, the previous methods that I showed you seem to be a little more efficient, but if you want to take this route and you happen to have a mission that you love to run, I just suggest checking the map on a daily basis. Hopefully the backpack is the targeted loot at one of your missions and you do have some good luck. Now, as we open up the map really quick, and this map is from today, January 26th. This is the day I'm recording the video, but when you open up the different targeted loot on the map, and this is for those of you that may be new, remember that the large icons represent targeted loot in an actual area. The small ones represent targeted loot behind a mission. Now, one thing I haven't talked about, and it is an incredibly efficient way to farm as well, is hitting up control points on heroic difficulty when the backpack happens to be the targeted loot in the open world of a section of the map. Now, I know for some of you out there, as you are new and returning to the game, you may not be able to do that on your own, but if you can pull it off, it is another way to try to pick it up. Now, one final thing I want to talk about is the fact that there are going to be some times in this game where your heart is broken. And what I mean is this: you're going to be playing, you'll have, let's say a few directives active in the summit or in the open world, you'll be in a section where the backpack is the targeted loot, you'll take out an NPC and a random exotic will drop. And the problem is, my friends, it is just that. It's a random exotic. You can see here, and again, this is from today, the backpack is the targeted loot at Viewpoint Museum. I take out a random NPC. I see the exotic drop. I'm thinking this is perfect for today's video. I roll up to it. I can't wait to see what it is. And it turns out to be the Merciless, or if you had really bad luck, it turns out to be a Costas Go bag. And I've heard from a lot of you out there that happens as well. But remember, friends, keep farming. This is one of those exotics you want to have no matter what. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please let me know. With all that being said, I'm going to start to wrap this up. And remember, exotics can randomly drop from NPCs at any time. You can get them from different faction caches located around the open world as well. But if we're talking sheer numbers at this point in the game, I really feel that farming that Anderson mission over and over on normal difficulty is the way to go. And the reason I say that is because, as I mentioned, you're getting a guaranteed exotic at the end of every single run. On normal difficulty, it's going to take you less than 15 minutes to do the thing, which means every 15 minutes you're getting an exotic. So mathematically, that is the best way to do it in the game right now. And as I said, I'm not sure how much longer that is going to be around. And even though the exotic is going to be random, to get anything guaranteed in this game is a good thing, and I wish you nothing but the best. As always, I want to take a moment and thank you all for your incredible support of this channel, and remind you, if you happen to be new here, feel free to hit that subscribe or join button. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor really quick and hit that like button as well. But most importantly, take care of yourselves, be kind to each other, and we will talk to you soon. Thanks again, everyone.
Magnetic charge detected.
Wade is using EMP jammers to overload the radio mast. Take them out before the mast is destroyed.
System disrupted. System reactivated. Structural integrity at 75%.
Agent, you've got to stop Wade. We need that radio mast. You won't be able to use your shield as long as that EMP jammer is active. Take it out.
System restored. System disrupted. System back online. System malfunctioning. System reactivated. System curtailed. Electromagnetic charge depleted. System restored.
right. The facility is ours. True Sons just lost a powerful tool for coordinating their troops and spouting their horse shit. Once we get the radio mast repaired,